Hello guys and welcome to today's Los Blancos podcast. Today it is the Athletic Club preview. Now we've obviously won there last week. Last week was international break and this is the first week back from international break. And next week we won't have next week either because it is the Copa del Rey week. But I believe we should have a podcast ready for you next week, so that should be fine. But after that it is the Manchester City game in the midweek of next week, so it's a really light schedule for us. We don't have many games, and this Athletic Club game it's a very dangerous one because Athletic Club this season have been excellent. They've been absolutely excellent so far this season. When we met them at the start of the season, first game of the season, Athletic Club were still working themselves out. We won 2-0, and they really they couldn't finish to save their lives like they did last year, but they fixed up. They've been excellent so far this year. They've scored plenty of goals. They've been a really exciting team. They've been one of my favourite teams to watch in Europe this season. They've been excellent going forward. Scoring plenty of goals. Guruzeta has been absolutely fantastic, despite him maybe not being one of the most quality strikers. Nico Williams and Iñaki Williams have both been fantastic this season, and Oyan Sanset as well. These guys have all been excellent this season, scoring plenty of goals, providing plenty of assists, and overall I've just been really impressed by Athletic Club so far this season. They've just been one of the most exciting teams in the whole in Spain and in Europe as well. And they've caused problems for Barcelona. They've knocked Barcelona out of the Copa del Rey, same as Atletico Madrid. They've caused Barcelona problems in the league as well, and I just think this is a potential problem for us. We could definitely trip up here, and I think Athletic Club, they're a definite problem. So, what are your thoughts overall on this Athletic Club team right now?
Yeah, they're one of the best teams in the league, competing for Champions League spots. So of course, you will expect them to be coming in the Bernabeu at their best, coming to get a victory. And this is actually a stat. Athletic Bilbao have won 16 games in La Liga this season, which is equaling their best record in the competition this century. So that shows exactly how good they are, because if they are regarded as one of the best teams in La Liga for, let's just say, at least the past 20 years, because that's the time frame I can remember, and of course they're equaling their best season, then of course that they're going to give us problems. They have really good players. They have a good attacking unit, and of course Athletic Bilbao always works as a unit, well in defense or in attack. Because they never have like the star players really, but they do have like a core group of players who can turn a game on for them. So of course it's going to be a tough game. Real Madrid in La Liga this season has been sometimes hit or miss, despite the fact that we are winning La Liga. Sometimes we concede goals that we shouldn't be conceding, just like previous seasons. So even though we have a good record, sometimes we concede like goals that's really avoidable due to individual mistakes, just like all teams. But sometimes either due to like a lapse in concentration, so we really have to be on top of our game. Especially with the fact that Real Madrid are the worst team this season. And this is actually another stat that I had here prepared for today. And Real Madrid have conceded 60% of their goals in the first half, and that's the highest percentage of any team in La Liga this season. Not, of course, the team that's conceded the most goals in the first half. That's not us, but in terms of all the goals that we conceded, 60% have been in the first half, and that's the most in La Liga. So we have to be really careful to not slip up, because Athletic Bilbao will punish us.
Yeah, and I think you said that stat. We were one of the worst teams in the first half, and that's where we concede most of our goals. But Athletic Club, are definitely not going to shy away from attacking us, trying to be really aggressive right from the beginning. And I think this has been something that Athletic Club have been excellent so far this season under Ernesto Valverde, who I've made it my thoughts known that I think Barcelona sacking him a couple of years ago was quite unfair, especially with what he did. And you saw that with a couple of managers that came after him. I think he did a pretty damn good job at Barcelona. Maybe not the best job he could have done, but I think he did a solid job, and I certainly don't think he should have been sacked. But yeah, he's really instilled an identity, which obviously Athletic Club always needs, is an identity. And it's been this identity of high pressing, getting possession in the final third. And if you are pressed down, you can counter attack really quickly with the two wingers you've got on either side, being Iñaki and Nico Williams. I think Ernesto Valverde has done excellent with this team, and I think they're really, really good at just getting at teams. They will press you. No matter what happens, they will press you like dogs, and they'll go after your team. So this is a game where I think Real Madrid, we need to be careful. This is coming off the international break, first game back. A lot of the players would have played a lot of minutes. You're looking at Vinicius, you're looking at Camavinga, who got that injury, but he looks to be fine. Tchouaméni played some minutes. Toni Kroos obviously played really good minutes for Germany, first games back for Germany, and he looks excellent as he always does. And overall, these guys played a lot of minutes. This is a potential slip up, especially against these Athletic Club players who will get at us and try and win this game. They're not going to shy away and try and get a draw. They will try and win this game because they know they can win this game. There is every chance they can, and I think we're lucky that we had that San Mamés game so early this season, because this game is at the Santiago Bernabeu, and I think Athletic Club are significantly worse away from home than they are at home. But I think still it's going to be a big challenge because they are a very, very good team, and I've really enjoyed watching them this season. But I think the main I'm gonna highlight one player in particular that I think could cause us problems, and that is Nico Williams. This has been his season, and he has been the star player of that Athletic Club team. He's been the guy grabbing all the headlines, and we've always talked about Iñaki Williams being one of the main guys for Athletic Club over the years. Iker Muniain as well. These guys have been the main guys, but another kid coming from the Basque from the Vizcaya youth system. All of these guys are coming through, and I think Nico Williams is proven to be another excellent find for them. It's just testament to their youth and their development programs in Bilbao, and I think they've just been fantastic. He's been fantastic so far this season. If you want to read up more about him, I'll put a thread in the description below. Top of the link, the top link will be that thread. But I think he's been excellent this season, getting down that wing. He's been a traditional winger, and that he really quick, really pacey, really agile. All these things he's fantastic at. He's a good crosser of the ball, and on the left wing he can be a definite danger to our right back, whether we play Carvajal or Lucas Vazquez. I believe it will be Carvajal here. I think he could definitely cause us some issues, and I think if you look at Iñaki as well, Iñaki's been really good this season, one of his best outputs in a while, because a lot of people have been doubting whether he can actually provide that output, but so far this season he's been great as well. And the number 9, Gorka Guruzeta, who I said like before, he isn't exactly one of the most. He hasn't got the most quality in the world. He is really just a squad player for most teams. But the way Athletic Club have utilised him, he's been absolutely fantastic so far this season, and he's scored plenty of goals that I don't think he would score for any other side in Spain, but I think he would score for Athletic Club, and that just shows how special Athletic Club are. So what are your thoughts on that front three? That could definitely cause us some issues in this game.
Yeah, of course. They're always a team that plays high energy. So of course, a lot of the goals that we have conceded against Bilbao in the past have been either through transition or through quick crosses and quick movements. So of course we have to be really careful, and we need to make sure and not concede those sloppy goals that we always do, especially at the start of the game, because they can, even when they score, they can lock down and they can make it difficult for us to get back into the game, especially when, of course, we have to rely on Hoslo coming on to maybe at least give us chances in the end. So we have to ensure that from minute one, we have to stay focused, and that's why I'm concerned that it's post the international break, because sometimes even post the Clasico, post the big results, post long periods without football, Madrid can sometimes struggle. So I'm a bit concerned by our defensive awareness at the start of the game, I must admit, especially when going up against that attack.
Yeah, and I think we need to be careful with the defence that we put together, because let's talk about this lineup, and I think we'll talk more about Athletic Club as we go. But let's talk about the Real Madrid lineup now. we don't have the full squad list yet because of when we're recording this. This is on the Friday before the game, so we don't know yet. We're recording quite early, but we don't know the full squad list. I assume that quite a few players will be in. I think this is mostly going to be the full squad. Obviously, Vinicius is the notable absentee. But I think one of the big injuries that happened to us in the recent weeks is Thibaut Courtois. Now, we couldn't talk about this over the last 2 weeks. We weren't obviously available, but we are here now. And I think Thibaut Courtois' injury is devastating. It's genuinely devastating. You know, a meniscus injury, which is what he got to the other knee, is not as huge. It's not going to keep him out for as long as an ACL tear. But what's bad about the meniscus injury is, I think the most notable name that's got a meniscus injury in the last few years is Ansu Fati. It's going to keep him. He's going to keep on getting injuries beyond this point. He's going to keep on getting injuries. If he gets the surgery, that's going to be more time out, which obviously he has got the surgery. It's going to be a potential for more injuries after this, and you often look at later on in players later on in their years, they become more prone to injuries, more prone to knee injuries, and this is a problem for Thibaut Courtois. You know, the ACL injury was bad enough, but now he's got this meniscus injury to the other knee. It's going to be like, I don't know how agile he's going to be. You know, you look at Thibaut Courtois, 6'6" frame, and yeah, he's getting down so quickly. I don't know if he's going to ever be like that again, and that's genuinely devastating because at his prime he was one of the best goalkeepers in the world. In my opinion, he was the best goalkeeper in the world. And this injury, you know, I think there's no doubt he's not going to come back for the rest of the season. It's going to be now to the next season. And I just think it's just devastating overall to have Thibaut Courtois miss another year, this whole season. He's going to miss this whole season. And the question marks now remain whether Thibaut Courtois is going to be ever return to the same player ever again. In my opinion, I just don't see it. Age 32, you know, I think Thibaut Courtois has gone through a lot of difficult moments in his career. You know, definitely, yeah, he has. You know, especially that you look at the Real Madrid start. He was really bad, and you know it was a really difficult time for him. But he recovered and he became the best goalkeeper in the world. He's obviously gone through these adversities and he's shown resilience. But this is a different beast, and you know this kind of injury, it takes a lot out of you, and I just don't know whether he can recover. I hope he can, because you know having Thibaut Courtois is such a game changer. But we're just gonna have to wait. We're gonna have to see what happens. You know, he's gonna have pre-season. Hopefully, we're gonna have to say that, but we'll have to see. But this, you know, leads me on to the next point, which is, this is Lunin's season to finish. I think, you know, he started the season, you know, he faced the Kepa arguments, you know, coming straight in. Carlo Ancelotti didn't trust him. He won back his spot. This is his season to finish, and I have full confidence in Andrew Lunin to go ahead and help us win La Liga and help us win the Champions League, hopefully. So, what are your thoughts on the Thibaut Courtois injury, and, you know, how much faith do you have in Andrew Lunin to finish out the season?
Yeah, I think you basically covered everything in addition to Courtois and Lunin especially, but I just have a key point that I needed to add with Lunin. Of course, the last time we had this discussion, we basically agreed that if an opportunity came in for Lunin this summer, we would definitely be happy for him to go, and we would want the club to accept it because he could be number one elsewhere. However, after the second injury, I think my mind has still a bit in addition to that, because, for example, if Courtois keeps getting injured, or if he's not suited to be the best, then of course that can mean more opportunities for Lunin, and that means he can potentially even win a number one spot at Madrid, even if it's against Courtois, maybe in a couple of years, or maybe he can keep getting constant game time. At least 5 to 10 games per season is not bad for a backup goalkeeper at his level. Maybe 10 games should be what he's expecting. So I believe that he can get that and will have the opportunity to get that and maintain his number one jersey for Ukraine, even with that amount of minutes and that amount of opportunities. So hopefully, I just posted an update on him that contract talks is going well. And of course, he would also get an improved salary as well, because of course he deserves it. We especially need a goalkeeper, so I think we can't risk losing him now, especially if you're unsure what's going to happen or how Courtois is going to come back. So that's that was a big concern for me, but Lunan has been doing well. So Courtois being injured isn't like a big concern. Of course, we would have not wanted him to get injured, but of course it just shows that it's still in season, like you said. But of course we have to give Carl Ancelotti the credit for actually finally making the best decision. Even though Kepa was his favourite at the start of the season, Lunan deserved to be number one, and it's clear that it's very clear that Lunan is one of the best goalkeepers in the world this season and should be number one at the club. So Ancelotti made the right decision, even after saying that Kepa is number one. He actually said that at least until maybe December, early December, late November, he maintained the fact that Kepa was number one. But of course, now Lunan is number one, and I'm just credit must go to Ancelotti for making a decision that best suits the team. We doubted him in the past, but this season, for this moment, he made the best possible choice.
Yeah, and I think no doubt he deserves that contract now. There's no doubt about that. I want him to stay. I want him to try and fight for that number one spot, because beyond this point, like I said, Courtois is going to be prone to injuries. He's going to have a lot of games to play. He's no longer going to be this number two that plays one Copa del Rey game a year. He's going to play the games now, and I think I'm happy for Lunan to get that contract, and I think he is going to be our number one for years to come. I think I don't think for me, I'm not going to start this argument over him or let's say Mike Maignan again, but I think for me, he deserves to be the number one for years to come for Real Madrid. And I think maybe he's not going to be the most flashy goalkeeper, but he can be a Keylor Navas for us, someone who's going to keep things ticking over, keep things, and never really make too many silly mistakes, and just be fantastic for us for years. So yeah, I'm happy with Andrew Lunan, and I trust him completely to get this season done, and win a starting spot, win that new contract, and be Real Madrid's number one for years to come. But get well soon to Thibaut Courtois. You just never want to see this, especially the club legend. And I hope he recovers and gets back to his best. But I'm not too optimistic right now. But let's see. All we can do is wait and see. That's it. Let's move on to the right back position, because there's going to be a lot of question marks over this position, because we've got plenty of time. Like I said, we've got plenty of time against them until the Man City game. I think it's a week and a half until the Man City game, so we've got a lot of time to keep things ticking over, and therefore I would go for Dani Carvajal here. I think this is Dani Carvajal's game to play. I'm not sure how many minutes he played for Spain in the international break, but I think
one game, just a game against Brazil.
Okay, so that was obviously the most recent game, but I still think he should play this game, especially if we want to try and lock down Nico Williams. I think we should try and play Dani Carvajal here. So, what are your thoughts on the right back position?
Yeah, one game isn't a concern for me. If he had played both games, it would have been a concern, but one game is not a concern, especially with the fact that we play Manchester City 9 days from now. It's not like 3 days away, it's 9 days or 8 days, whatever, but it's still a good amount of time for players to get back at their best on the cover. So I think Carvajal should start 100%. It's a big game, and we should go with the best possible defense or the best possible team to win this game. So let's start with Carvajal, because he's one of the captains and the leader.
Yeah, I agree. No Lucas Vázquez, although he's having a fantastic season, and I think he should get that new contract. Centre-backs. Now, there's plenty of talk about the centre-backs, because it is expected that Eder Militao could make his long-awaited return against a team where he got injured initially at the start of the season. He could finally make his return. Now, it's actually ridiculous, because he got injured against Athletic Club in the reverse fixture, and he's back with an ACL injury. He's back in the opposite reverse fixture. That's ridiculous recovery time. But obviously, Eder Militao is going to be back for this game, hopefully. But I don't think he should start. I think this should still be Rudiger and Nacho. And I think in overall, I think Eder Militao should play maybe 30 minutes at the end of the game. Here's the big one. If we are winning. If we are winning, then I think Eder Militao should get minutes in this game. If not, there's no need to rush him. He's obviously not going to play for the Man City game, first leg anyway. He's not going to play for the first leg, so you just take your time with Eder Militao. You don't want to aggravate anything, and you don't want to rush him like you did with Thibaut Courtois. So what are your thoughts on the centre backs here?
Yeah, I share the exact same viewpoint as you. I think he might get some minutes in the game after Manchester City. That game week after Manchester City, which is like maybe 12 days to 15 days from now. So I think that's best. You don't want to cause any major concerns. This is an important game, but you would bank on the fact that the guy not sure the guy Chumani can take care of business in this game, if I'm being honest. But we don't want to cause any harm because, of course, even if he can play today, you want him to be at 100% for the last part of the season. So the more important part is maybe 1 month from now or 2 weeks from now. That's when we have to start getting him ready to be at his best. This is an important game, but of course, there's not much we can do. It's not like we're getting him ready to play for City. We are trying to get him ready to finish the season, not to get him going immediately. So I think the wise thing to do is not to introduce him in this game. So for me, either Chouameni Adediga or Adediga, I'm not sure for me. But for me, I'll just stick with not sure for now.
Yeah, I agree. Left back, I think Ferland Mendy should start. We need the defensive presence in this game. I think this is definitely not a game for Fran Garcia or Camavinga. I think, for me, you're going to try and have to stop Iñaki Williams. I think this is probably one of the best options. So I think for here, Ferland Mendy, pretty simple enough.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, if he continues this form, maybe he can be back with the national team. But yeah, Mendy for sure today. Well, on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree. The midfield four. Now, this is where I want Chouameni. I want Chouameni to play this game. There's been a lot of news about Trent Alexander-Arnold, and to keep things short, because there's a lot we could talk about Trent, and I think we should save that for next week. But to keep things short, I think Trent is it's going to be it's an interesting one because I think Alphonso Davies is pretty guaranteed. It's pretty solid chance that he's going to come this summer. And I just think, especially with Chouameni's lack of defensive tracking, I think he can be a little bit lost sometimes when he's tracking players. I think that could be a problem, especially when you've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, who most of the time is not in the defence. Same as Alphonso Davies, although Alphonso Davies does have the pace to recover. I think that could be a little bit of a problem, but I think that's something we'll talk about next week. But yeah, I think there's no doubt about Trent's attacking ability. He's one of the best players in the world, and he is the guy. He is. You talk about players in a system. He is the system. When you got Trent Alexander-Arnold, he is the system. So, we'll talk more about that next week. But I think Chouameni would be my defensive midfielder. And then obviously next to him, the new contract man, Toni Kroos, has signed the new contract. Thank God. He is here until 2025. He's obviously still playing at a world-class level, and I'm thanking God that he stays and plays another year with us, like he should, because he's obviously still capable. And that's one more year of Toni Kroos. But as well as that, I think Fede Valverde can play this game. I'm not sure how many games Fede played in international break. I wasn't tracking Uruguay. But yeah, Fede right centre midfield, and then Jude Bellingham. Is Jude back for this game, or is?
Yeah, he's back 100%. He's back.
Yeah. So Jude will be back for this game, and I think he should start in the attacking midfield role. But yeah, your thoughts on obviously the first of all the Trent news, then the Toni Kroos, and then your midfield four.
Yeah, with Trent coming in, like you said, both Trent and Davies are different players, but they're both attacking fullbacks, so like they get half the pitch. I think the main difference is that Trent maybe receives the ball or starts from a deeper position. So, of course, yes, he plays higher, but he normally starts from a deeper position, and he's available in space a lot of times. So I think maybe that could suit Madrid in the long term, but like you said, the fact that he is different from Davies, that can maybe in some way it can work if you have the right midfield to go with it. If I'm being honest, like Valverde, Chouameni, Camavinga, etc., even Bellingham works that. So like you said, it's a topic for another day, because of Trent is a player who we can spend a lot of time on because he's such a big name and a player who can contribute a lot. So for me, I think Chouameni should start this game along with the same starting midfield, because Camavinga has a slight injury and you don't want to take any chances like we did with other players this season. So it should be I would have wanted to come up and get to start this game, but due to the injury, we don't know how serious it could be. And I'm unsure of his position at this time, even though there are positive reports coming out of it. I will still go through many Cruz and Valverde with, I guess, Modric, Ceballos, and Guna off the bench, if possible. But with that midfield, I think Bellingham should have forced it in to the number 10 position because Vinicius is absent. And of course, Vinicius is likely to be replaced by Diaz. And of course, Rodrygo is going to, I guess, play on the left and Diaz on the right.
Yeah, I agree. Rodrygo on the left and then Diaz on the right. I think Brahim's obviously Moroccan national team adventure. He didn't do anything notable at all, but yeah, that's quite nice to see him playing for a national team. And I think Spain could have used him. I'm not going to comment much on that, but I think Spain definitely could have used Brahim Diaz in this game. But you know, what do I know? I'm not the Spanish national team selection officer, so I ain't got a clue. But you know, Brahim Diaz in this game could be definitely useful. I think what I will say about Athletic Club's defence is not the quickest. This is not a quick defence, and I think therefore we could definitely try and exploit them in that way. In the game where Barcelona, they didn't put much pressure against Athletic's defence. I think they didn't play. You know, they didn't try and go for these quick attacks. They didn't try and exploit that defensive line. They didn't try and do any of that. But you know, obviously that ended 0-0 in the league a couple of weeks ago. I think Rodrygo can definitely show, and I think it's so important that Rodrygo steps it up ahead of that Man City game. It's so important. We need Rodrygo at his best because there's going to be a lot of chances for him to impress. And I think he was fantastic for Brazil in the international break. And I think one more thing I would like to say about the international break, Endrick was amazing. Two goals, one against Santiago Bernabeu against Spain, and then one in Wembley against England, which, you know, mixed emotions for me because I did not want to see England lose that match. We should not have lost that match because I think we are better than Brazil. We've got better players than Brazil, but you know, Gareth Southgate continually disappointing. But what can you say? Endrick was fantastic and, you know, got that goal, which was great for him. And at the Santiago Bernabeu, scoring, and then Lamine Yamal, obviously it was important in the first two goals for Spain, so that could definitely be a rivalry for the coming years. This is the first meet up between them two, so yeah, that was quite impressive. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this, the way we can try and exploit this Athletic Club defence?
Yeah, I definitely believe that you have to understand that with Bilbao, they are a physical team. Let's be honest, they are a very physical team. So I think sometimes you might need Hosto in the second half if we are able to break through. I think we can't wait until minute 70 to try something new or to introduce new players if we are struggling. Of course, we have seen as of late, especially this year, when we have won games by one goal, just by one defining moment, and that happened because we stayed solid in the back for the entire minutes, and then we didn't take our opportunity. That one chance is sometimes all we need. So if it's not working out, I think by minute 65 or minute 60 for the latest, something will have to be changing immediately because Bilbao, they're a good team that prepares well for their opponents. So of course, they are very well aware of who's going to start this game. If it's not working out, they're going to have specific plans to limit the impact of some players, especially Bellingham, I believe. So of course, Diaz will have to will have a big opportunity to like maybe come deeper and have a big impact. Along with Rodrygo, who has the opportunity to play on the left again, so hopefully that can ignite a spark in him to get a goal and help us win this game. He has to finally get back his form again. Not his form, his goal scoring boots, because he's not in bad form. It's just we need him to get back into scoring, especially before he plays City.
Yeah, and I think Rodrygo can definitely do that for us. I mean, apart from that, I mean, you look at the Athletic Club team so far this season, they are fourth. They're trying to fight for that fourth place spot with Atleti. Real Madrid right now, we're in good stead. We're well ahead of Barcelona in points, you know, a couple games ahead. and overall I'm quite content with the lead that we have. Obviously that can obviously cut down in a matter of weeks. We've got El Clasico in a couple of weeks' time, so that's obviously going to be a huge game. But you know, everything can happen in a couple of weeks, and I think we can definitely make sure that we don't lose this lead. In terms of how confident you are that we win the league, could you give a percentage chance?
I would say 85% for now, 85%. And that's simply because we have a high advantage. And of course, because Barcelona are not the best of teams despite their little revival as of late. I think we have just enough to win this league, if I'm being honest. Next season, I believe if our starter had started a bit earlier, it would have been more difficult, but I believe that we have just enough to get over the line with at least maybe 2 games to spare, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and one last thing to talk about. Vinicius, just he's resting at home, he's having a nice time. I think it's obviously quite nice for him to have a game off, but do you think it's going to be a problem? 2 weeks from now, we're getting Man City played, and Vinicius won't have many games in his legs. He won't be as sharp. Do you think this sharpness issue is a problem ahead of the Man City game?
I think every player is different. If I'm being honest, I think Modric is one of these guys who will always say that if he plays more consistently and constantly, then of course the rhythm will definitely help you to be at your best. It's difficult, of course, pick up when you're not 100%, when you have maybe 30 minutes to play, or maybe when you're missing some games. The rhythm is of course not the same, and of course there are a lot of evidence to back that as well. But if I'm being honest, I think yeah, it's a concern, but it's not like he is missing an entire month because of course we just played 2 matches with Brazil. So I think he should be fine in my opinion. It's not like I think if it was a longer time frame, then that's the issue. Or maybe if he wasn't starting and he's expected to be called upon, then I think that's a different issue because he's been playing all season. So I think he should be fine. Maybe he might take like up to 10 minutes in the game to get going, but I think that we should be fine regardless. And in the second half, we might come to life in terms of attacking, etc.
Yeah. So I think that is it for today. I'm just having a last look at my notes. Nah, I think that's it. Okay, so yeah, big game against Athletic Club on Sunday. Hopefully we can get the win, and just extend our lead. Hopefully we can Barcelona drop points. I'm not sure who they play this weekend, but hopefully I think it's Rayo. I don't know. I have a funny feeling it's Rayo Vallecano, but I might be wrong on that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I can actually check that really fast.
Okay.
But
yeah, I mean, say Barcelona are trying to cut down that lead. They're going to chase us till the end, but
yeah, they're playing Las Palmas.
Okay, Las Palmas, since they're not Rayo. Yeah, so that's definitely a game they can trip up in, but I doubt it. And especially with the form they've been on good form. They're getting by, they're getting wins, and I think that's what Xavi wants at this point. But you final La Liga game against until Man City. Yeah, it's a bit annoying that Copa del Rey weekend comes in so next weekend, but Athletic Club are going to play that game. I think that's important to note as well. Athletic Club are going to play that game, and I don't know if they're going to rest a few players this weekend just to make sure that they don't get injured. Hopefully they'll rest Nico Williams, hopefully they rest Iñaki, and we can have an easy win here, but you never know. Athletic Club are always going to fight, especially against Real Madrid, especially against Barcelona. That's what I like about Athletic Club. They don't make exceptions for who they play well against. I'm looking at Atletico Madrid there, but yeah, that is it for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Like I said, there will be a Nico Williams thread in the description below, top link. But that is it. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.